Good evening, everybody, and I hope everybody has had a great Friday today and had a good work week, and looking forward to spending a great weekend, hopefully enjoying time together with your family and friends, doing special, and just celebrating life. That little tiny fact that we sometimes overlook and forget about. But we shouldn't take advantage of that, and we need to appreciate that and enjoy it every opportunity that we get. So first of all, like always, gang, I want to thank all of the healthcare workers and first line responders and nurses and docs and everybody that's out there fighting this COVID-19 virus. It's obviously becoming a bigger issue in a number of hot spots, including here in Florida. And none of my posts, I've tried to avoid getting into numbers and everything else just because of the controversy about number reporting and what data we can believe in terms of numbers and everything else. And I'm not going to get into any of that tonight, but I can definitely safely say, based on the information that we're getting, not only in the medical community, but just even out in the general population, it's no big surprise that the number of infections is increasing and the number of people being affected by this virus is increasing. I want to thank everybody who has taken the opportunity to go get tested for the COVID-19 antibodies to see whether they are potential donors for convalescent plasma. It makes me really happy when I get more and more of these messages every single day saying, "Hey, Nick, I just want to let you know, I went and got tested. I'm waiting on my results." And what's even more exciting is several of these folks just in the last 2 days have reported back that they've received reports that their antibody levels are positive and they're completely asymptomatic and they're totally recovered from their COVID infections, and they will be joining the ranks of convalescent plasma donors, potentially saving lives out there. So, I said before, it was ordered as part of my treatment when I was acutely hospitalized. I was not able to get that as part of my treatment. But for those that are out there doing that, you have the potential to save someone's life. So what an impact and what a gift you're giving to others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A couple of folks were kind enough to reach out to me who have done like similar posts or done speaking engagements and stuff like that, and recommended that I do. I mean, I've given a couple of disclaimers if I've spoken about different things, just saying I don't have a financial interest in that sort of thing. And I'll just put that out there again. I'm doing these videos as a way of putting my story out there, share it with other people who have had COVID already and survived and are asymptomatic. Also to share with other folks who are in recovery right now, like myself, kind of how I feel, what the symptoms have been. Gives us the opportunity to kind of share that with each other as well and go, oh yeah, okay, so this is not unusual what I'm seeing. Even though we talk about these issues with our physicians, it's always kind of nice to bump ideas off of each other and kind of give us reassurance that, yeah, what we're experiencing here is a real thing. So my little disclaimer here, I don't get paid to do these or anything else. I'm doing them as a means of education as well. I'm trying to get information out there to you guys to try to help others. And by others, I mean yourself. That way you can empower yourself to help your family and friends. And that's been possible just through discussions of my posts on here and through the recurrent sharing of my posts. I know that some of my information is getting out there to people and it may have an impact on what their thoughts are about this COVID-19 virus. And if it makes them change their mind, and if they start making safe choices to protect themselves and their loved ones, then the time and the effort that I put into these videos makes it all worthwhile. I have a private practice. I'm a family doctor. I have a private practice here in the Largo Clearwater area, and I enjoy educating my patients. And I also have the privilege of assisting in the education of medical students and residents. And it's a huge privilege. And one thing I try to stress with them is how important the education component is when we work with our patients. I've said it before, education is empowerment. When we give people knowledge, we give them power. And that's my primary goal here with this, folks, is to get education out there. So when I give these little I'll call them tidbits of information from a medical standpoint, what I'm trying to do is just say, hey, here's a trial that came out. Here is kind of the quick and dirty of what my takeaway was from that. I'm not rendering a medical opinion on that or giving medical advice by any means. I'm trying to get information out there that can be a tool for you guys, if you have the interest, to go ahead and research that yourself. So please take that into consideration. The other thing is, when I do these posts, sometimes by the time the video actually gets uploaded to Facebook, the information coming out at the rate and the volume is just crazy in regards to COVID-19 right now. So I literally wouldn't be surprised if some of the information that I've compiled throughout that day or the prior couple of days, if that data is already outdated by the time my post gets done uploading to the web that night. So we have to remember that the science and the data behind COVID-19 right now is a rapidly changing environment. And that's why we have to do our diligence and make sure that as frequently as we can, we're trying to learn as much as we can with the new knowledge that's coming out. So I appreciate you guys' help with that as well. On a personal note, you might notice that I'm having a little bit more short of breath this evening. Mr. Bernie and Mr. Max wanted to go for a walk this afternoon, and it was a pretty warm, muggy afternoon, rainy afternoon here on the West Coast in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. And I think I might have overdid it a little bit when we went for our walk and got a little short of breath, which is still hanging around a little bit tonight. But my oxygen level's fine. Pulse rate is up a little bit, but I'm not surprised about that. And we just cut down the dosage of my steroids, the dexamethasone, 2 days ago. We went from 6 milligrams a day to 4 milligrams per day. So I don't know if that may have a little bit of a component in terms of the inflammation in the lungs. Obviously, if my situation starts to feel like it's getting any worse, or if it's not improving in a short period of time, then I'll obviously be touching base with my pulmonologist for his opinion and recommendation on that. Today has been quite emotional day. Several of you on here have reached out with sad news that you have lost loved ones in the last 24 hours to COVID-19. These have been people that I know right here in our own Tampa Bay area. Some of them are folks following me on Facebook because of these posts, whom I don't know personally, but have reached out to let me know what an impact my videos have made on them and that unfortunately they have been directly now related by loss from COVID-19. Personally, today I also lost another friend to COVID-19. And Tommy was a 55-year-old guy who was funny. He was gregarious. He had one of those personalities that could just light up a room. And my sincere condolences go out to his family and his friends tonight. Hopefully we're going to start getting on top of this thing, gang. Okay. With my private practice, and I've been out of the office a couple weeks, so I need to take some time today to do the business aspect of my practice. And if anybody was waiting tonight for like a COVID-19 scientific geek update, it's Friday night. I'm going to be honest. I don't have a COVID-19 geek update for you tonight. I just didn't have time to get it done today, gang. So I apologize and bear with me. One thing that I do want to touch base on is I'd made a very heartfelt plea to all of the folks back out there in the great Midwest about practicing safety during your county fairs and the county celebrations. And like I said, it's an exciting time. I want you all to get out there. It's a special time in the Heartland to celebrate your hard work and what you guys do to make sure that not just our country, but our world continue to be fed and nourished. And we appreciate all that work. But I want you to be safe, okay? When I started seeing some of the pictures and videos and things uploaded from some of the county fairs out there, it was a little bit disheartening. It wasn't a little bit disheartening. It was disheartening to me because I put a special effort into trying to encourage everyone to wear a mask and do the social distancing. And all these pictures and videos that I saw in the last 24 to 48 hours, I haven't seen one mask yet. And these are with families and friends sitting packed into the stands, watching their kids and loved ones. These are the kids who are showing their 4-H and their FAA animals in the show ring. And they're walking past the judges and they're walking past each other. And nobody has a mask on. Folks, I'm going to put out a plea out there again. Please, please, please start taking this seriously. This is, if you get this virus, the potential is deadly. And it didn't take me out, but I can tell you right now that it made me feel pretty darn uncomfortable. And I'm still a little pretty darn uncomfortable. So I thought maybe if I could put some numbers together for this area of Northwest Kansas where I grew up, just to give you guys a little idea of the potential impact that an outbreak would have in your area. And by an outbreak, I mean, there's people that's going to get sick. That doesn't mean everybody's going to go to the hospital and everybody's going to die. But the impact is that there's going to be sick people. And some of you will need to go to the hospital. And unfortunately, some of you will die. That's the reality of what happens with these type of outbreaks. So I did a little research and pulled some data for Northwest Kansas. And just because of the proximity of the communities out there, particularly Sheridan County, right there in Hoxie where you got your big fair going on, and congrats to my niece on all of your big wins out there. Uncle Nick's proud of you. I'll be even more proud of you when I see a picture of you with a mask on. So in that Northwest Kansas area, folks, counting all of your community and regional hospitals, and when I went through the map, I think I got every hospital counted here. If I did miss one, I apologize. But if I counted correctly, in 2015, Sheridan County, your population was 2,512. So 5 years ago, you had 2,512 people living right there in Sheridan County. Your Sheridan County Hospital is approved as an 18-bed hospital. So your 2,500 population get the honor of sharing those 18 beds right there in Hoxie. When I count all of the beds for all of the hospitals in Northwest Kansas and Regional, it looks like you guys have a total of 402 hospital beds. Those 402 hospital beds have to supply a population that in 2017 was 109,925 people. So basically you got 110,000 people social distancing, because when you live in Northwest Kansas, you're kind of automatically social distancing. I grew up there. I can attest to that. And out of that 110,000 folks, you got 402 hospital beds to share if somebody really needs one. So just think about the impact in those communities, guys. If there were to be a real major outbreak, and especially if it were to get into the nursing homes, I know that the population of folks out there is certainly getting older. I know it is in Wallace County where I grew up. These are folks that I've grown up knowing my entire life. And if these folks, if you get an outbreak in one of the nursing homes out there, it's going to be devastating. It's going to happen. So yet another reason to be safe. It's about protecting others besides yourself. I'm a little bit concerned about Tropical Storm Hannah that's come up through the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to end up hitting Texas at some point tomorrow. Texas is already a hot spot for COVID, and the potential for complications from a tropical storm when we start putting people in shelters and everything else, and we're doing that in the middle of an outbreak with COVID, obviously there's a potential there for a whole lot of problems. So I have a personal concern, and I pray for everybody that's going to be in the path of Tropical Storm Hannah, and for everybody who's going to be working or who is working on preparedness and then the response to whatever results from that tropical storm. Be safe up there. So if you ever see the little tagline where I'm posting from, it says Wino Friday Central. Many years ago, that when I made up Facebook, my dear friend Lori and I came up with that name because usually on Friday afternoon or Friday evening, we'd enjoy sharing a glass of wine. And so my house on Facebook is called Wino Friday Central. So here we are on Friday evening at Wino Friday Central. And the only science geek thing that I want to leave tonight, I think is a great way to celebrate the end of our week together. And I think it is a great way to kick off the weekend when I tell you that this was a little blip that I found on Helio.com today. H as in Harry, Helio, Helio.com. And this was an article, or it was a systematic review and meta-analysis that was published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology on July 22nd of 2020. So, European Journal of Preventive Cardiology. And the takeaway of this, and what was probably one of the brightest spots in my entire day today, which I needed from that other disappointing news that I shared with you, is this article demonstrated that chocolate may reduce our coronary artery disease risk. Folks who eat chocolate at least once a week, when they did this meta-analysis, it looks like if you eat chocolate at least once a week, you have a decrease in your coronary artery disease risk. Well, I can tell you, as a food and wine guy, that I definitely get my chocolate course at least once a week. And with that being said, I want to wish you all a very happy Friday night and a great weekend. And this is how I'm starting off my weekend to make sure I get my chocolate for the weekend, and I'll be enjoying it with a nice glass of red wine. So please stay safe, everybody. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to one another. God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Night-night.